it's Sarah, and today I want to talk about some books that I think are underhyped. I recently did a video where I talked about books that I felt were overhyped. Not that they were bad. They weren't bad books. They just didn't give me the reading experience I was expecting because of all the hype that surrounded them. But these books, I got a better experience than I was expecting because they had not been really hyped up and talked about a whole lot. And when I read them, I was really surprised about how much I loved them. So I'm going to share some of those with you today. First one I have here is actually a YA book, and that is Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. I really like Claire Legrand a lot. I have read a few of her books, and this one was so good. This is a horror book, and it follows an island that people live on, set off the coast of New York. And it's a little infamous for girls disappearing and like maybe something otherworldly happening on this island, and no one really knows what's going on. And we follow a girl who moves out there with her family for her mother's job, and what happens because a girl goes missing while she's over there, and she kind of becomes in the middle of it. And you find out what's going on. It was fantastic. It was a lot creepier than I was expecting, and the characters were so great. And I really enjoyed my time reading this one. Okay, the next one is The Girl He Used to Know by Tracy Garvis Graves. This is another author that I have read one other book by her, and I loved it. It was On the Island. I loved that book. And so I wanted to try another one, and I picked this one up because I had heard good things about it, but I didn't hear a whole lot about it. I had no idea what it was about. And this is one that I read, and then I went and bought a physical copy because I didn't own it when I read it. I listened to it on audio, and I went and bought a copy afterwards because I was like, this book was fantastic. It surprised me. It was one of the biggest surprises I've had in my most recent history of reading, I will say, like in the past couple of years. So this follows, it's a dual timeline, and it's between these two characters who meet in college and they date, and then something happens and they break up, and then it's, in the future a little bit, and they end up seeing each other again or running into each other. And so all these feelings are coming back, and like what happened and all these things. And I remember listening to this while I was driving, and something happened and I realized what was going on, and I just started crying while I was driving my car. Don't recommend. And I was like, I got to be careful or I'm going to get into an accident because I can't see because I'm crying listening to this book. Oh my gosh. Oh, it was fantastic. And these characters were so good and so well written. Yeah, it just is awesome. This is another one that really took me by surprise by how much I really enjoyed it. And that is The Gown by Jennifer Robson. Now, I do like historical fiction. I don't read a ton of it, though, and I'm a little picky about what I pick up. I kind of have some authors that I have already tried and loved. I have some pretty prolific authors who I want to try, and I'd never read anything by her yet, but this one really intrigued me because this is following literally the gown of Queen Elizabeth when she got married and the dressmakers who make that gown. And so you're following, these women who are working in the factory that make the gown. And so many things happen in here that I was not expecting. I did not expect to care about these characters as much as I did. And I really did. There were some things that were really surprising that I did not think they were going to go there, and they did. And yeah, it was fantastic. Just really heavy on just falling in love with these women. Okay, this next one is another young adult, and that is A Far Wilder Magic by Allison Saft. This is one that I had gotten an ARC from the publishers, and I ended up reading it. I listened to it, actually, and I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed this book. It is about these two, and they have a chance meeting because he is trying to get an apprenticeship with her mother, who is a very well-known alchemist. That's the word I was looking for, alchemist. And he's trying to get an apprenticeship with her mother. However, her mother is gone. She's just off doing her own thing, which she has a habit of doing. And so he ends up meeting her. And she is in need of an alchemist for a competition that she is entering, where you have to enter in pairs as a team, and she didn't have anyone to enter with, and there's a lot at stake for the prize for this, and it's going to make a big difference to her in her life. And so he decides to help her, and of course things happen, and I loved it. I really liked the audiobook because I thought the accents were great, because there's a different accent for him because of where he's from. And it's just, yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. I just really found myself going, this is fantastic. I felt so immersed in it, and the descriptions were really great, and it just had such a magical feel to it. And I loved it, and I loved the characters. Okay, and this one was a surprise to me because I had tried to read this author before, and I DNF'd what I was reading because I don't know. I remember going, this is too much. And that's Alexandra Bracken. So the one I'm talking about here is Lore. The one that I had DNF'd before was Passenger, and I'm trying to figure out if maybe I should go back and try that one again after reading this one and loving it so much. I'm not sure yet, but if I do, I won't rebuy it. I'll just get it from the library and try, but I'm considering it. I want to read a little bit more from her other books first before I decide on that. But Lore, I picked up because Audrey from Chapter and Converse read this and absolutely loved it. And she's not a fantasy reader really at all. So when she loves something fantasy, I'm like, I'm going to try that. And I loved this. So this is following Greek gods and their ancestors. And every so often, all the Greek gods come down to Earth. They are immortal normally, but when they come to Earth, they are mortal for a certain time period, and they are able to be killed off. And if you can kill a god, then you gain their powers. And so we're following the ancestors of these gods, and it's a competition. It's kind of been labeled as like a Hunger Games situation, and I could definitely, I understand that reference there. And so we're following Lore, who is a descendant of Medusa. And oh man, you guys, it was so action-packed, and I just really enjoyed it so much. I could not put it down. I wanted to keep going. There were lots of really good battle scenes, obviously, because we're, in a whole competition here. And there's a whole lot of politics going on as well that you're seeing, and kind of behind the scenes stuff and little shady deals and stuff like that. And, who do you trust? All that. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. Okay, guys, those are a few books that I have on my shelves that I have read and absolutely loved. And I felt they were a little underrated just because I don't hear about them very often at all, even though they've been out for a while. So I hope that helped pique your interest in some of these, maybe. Let me know some of your favorite underrated books. I would love to know. And I will see you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day.